Okay, at the sound of the tone, we will call the Town of Somerville Planning Commission meeting for July 18th to order. First order of business will be the approval of minutes from the meeting on June 20, 2022. Are there any additions or corrections to those as they were published?
I second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor of accepting the minutes signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, like sign. Ayes have it. It's unanimous. Next order of business is public hearing. Request to rezone TMS number 13711140005 located at 414 South Main Street. It's approximately 0.64 acres and owned by 414 SMS LLC from GR2 General Residential to MMX Neighborhood Mixed Use Council District 2. The petitioner here to address this.
Unfortunately, the petitioner was not able to attend today.
Okay. Well, we all have the information in the packet. Is there anybody else who wants to speak to this? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing and we'll move to the next. So request to rezone TMS number 15413050002 on Ladson Road, approximately 9.54 acres and owned by Somerville Commissioner of Public Works from PL Public Lands to GB General Business in Council District 6. Is there anyone who wishes to speak to this?
I do. Our neighbors are, they have conflicts.
Okay, I've lived in Ladson. Well, actually, I grew up in Somerville off of Germantown Road. So I know Somerville like the back of my hand. I've lived in Ladson in the Moss Point subdivision, which is where adjacent to where you want to build whatever you want to do. I mean, I'm upset because I've watched the last couple of years, you've put every business in that area. And what's happening is that our subdivision, you put bridges, you put a trailer park, another place, because when I moved in there, we were put in the middle of Jameson Terrace. Moss Point was just put right in the middle. We had nothing else except the two subdivisions. Okay, since then, when we were placed there, we were promised, because since it's right near the fire station, which y'all are rebuilding, that canal there was supposed to be placed there to prevent flooding. Okay, those birds I have seen in my neighborhood recently, and we're the inner neighborhood. What's happening to that neighborhood is that the flooding, I have standing water now. French drains don't work. My house is built, when I bought that house, it was a rainy day and the water was going downhill. And that's the reason why the VA built that house on the cul-de-sac that and I wanted to be there. But I'm confused why y'all want to build things on our walking trail. It used to be a walking trail. I walked that trail for about 20 years. Okay. My sons are graduates of Fort Belchester. One's a computer nerd with Deloitte in Seattle, because basically he said there's nothing here. And I can't blame him. I love that, but it's changed. Ladson Road is now a speedway. Crime, we get drive-by shootings, come from the bridges into our little neighborhood. Used to be very quiet. My little end of the road is still very quiet. But I still, you want to make it into a mixed business. So is there going to be another business being placed there? Because we got Caliber on the other side with fire stations at Greenby rebuilt. We now have a Gulliver's coming. We have a car wash down the street. I mean, we're kind of like sandwiched in now. My neighbors, we had flooding like we had never seen. The 100-year flood that happened was one thing. FEMA didn't want to do nothing because most of my neighbors in that subdivision and the round was flooded. my yard, which is actually high off the ground, standing water. I am confused as to why the building, why take the green space that's there and put another building there? It's already impacted the birds that are there. I mean, they're all over the place. They're coming into the neighborhoods, like I said, and those birds do not. They're supposed to be in that canal and stay in that canal.
Ma'am?
I'm sorry if I'm taking up too much
No,
time.
ma'am, I have a question for you. On the chart up here, can you help me understand where your subdivision is?
Okay,
Using, can you see that? Does that help you? The red area up here with the hatch marks is,
we're right in the middle, like David Court. That area, Moss Point is part, David Court is part, we're
are you across Ladson from it?
So,
Or you're
Tom,
on the
you
same
see,
side?
you see
on the
the,
same side as
yeah,
where
you see the red hash marks, Tom?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the
Scroll back
proposed.
other direction.
I'm on Mickler Drive.
Yeah, so
Right
there's
in the
two
middle of
roads,
James-
there's two roads you can see, Tom, up there in the
Yeah,
right,
Ladson
right hand
Road,
corner. You
Margaret,
see
yeah,
David Court, and you
Margaret,
see Lexi Court.
David, yeah, all those are
That's the
part
edge-
of,
That's the edge.
Okay, so you're further up Ladson Road.
not far. I mean, I used to walk that trail for years.
I mean, it's, you're next on Ladson
Mhm.
Road. Your subdivision. Okay.
You're right there. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, here's the area that we're dealing with.
I don't want to take up your time, but I mean,
No, I appreciate you
That's-
coming forward. So on this
Why we're
photo, the aerial photo, is it the housings that are shown there to
Mhm.
the upper right-hand corner of the
This-
photograph?
The,
Okay,
Yeah, little street you can see there at the bottom, next to it, labeled Margaret, is actually Fairlawn, which is right in front of it.
yeah, we're right behind, but they put us right in the middle.
Okay.
Of the two subdivisions. And then Bridges is behind us, which came later. And then that, I guess those condos that came around, and now they're building something else on Trolley Road. So all of that is kind of boxing us in.
Who is they? Who's doing the request?
CPW, I think, is
Well,
doing the request.
yeah, the
We
request
come up
came
with
from
zoning.
CPW. They've got a sale for the property to build a medical complex there. See, this is all Trident.
Yeah.
There's Somerville Medical, the large red.
Okay, so the large red, is that where they're putting their psychiatric, the psych,
That
The
large red is
some
the
of the
Somerville
Center.
Medical. That's the
Okay.
hospital.
is that where they're putting their mental facility
that's on Midland
or
Road,
Midland Park?
Parkway. That's the main hospital.
No, I understand. I mean, we were there when it opened up.
And then on the corner is the emergency
Mhm.
room there.
Has anyone contacted you concerning the use of this land? They can do some things to help y'all with doing this, if they get the they will do the reconstruction, they can help y'all out too. Has anyone communicated with y'all, or working with them?
No, I mean. that
Just
subdivision pretty
just
much
as a
goes
note-
out, Taking up the back.
Just as a note, her subdivision is in the county. It's not in the town limits.
I'm unincorporated area, but I pay the taxes.
Well, you don't pay taxes to us, but
Well,
um,
I mean,
To the county.
I'm just
To the
explaining,
county.
yeah, I'm just explaining that we don't have any control over your subdivision.
no, that's fine. I
Yeah.
mean, that's not that. Because I talked to the county, but they cursed us up.
But you need help.
Huh?
Y'all need help out there.
Well, we've asked for help. I mean, the last rain here on the street behind me, I mean, it's flooded. So, I mean, I'm wondering how this is gonna impact that
Well,
little
yeah.
culvert.
Can I ask you a question? ma'am?
Mhm.
Have you had flooding within the last month?
Yes,
Okay,
and I never had
so
flooding.
it's not just the big rains, it's the.
No.
Summertime
I've got
rains,
standing
right.
water, which I've never had. And I've been in the same house since the VA built it.
Thank you, ma'am. That's all the question I have. I don't know if anybody else does.
Have you presented your concerns to the county?
Oh, yeah, I mean, when FEMA came before, I mean, it's been getting worse. It's gotten worse. I mean, this last month, it's,
Okay.
do you know who's gonna be building on that area?
The proposal is for a medical office.
Comfort? I mean, I'm not against that. I'm a nurse, I'm an RN. But I mean, I'm just wondering if it's like, it's so close to the house and they're gonna be digging up things. So how is that gonna impact our that big culvert where the birds are at? Because the wastewater plant is right across the street. Where they have the wastewater. Because if you keep going back, you're gonna run into the elementary school, Walmart, that whole area.
Oh,
Oh,
but
right.
that,
Because that's
Yeah,
another
the other
subdivision back
Right,
that way. but-
right.
Yeah, that's,
yeah, that's
that's the
always
other,
floods too.
Yeah. it's
Also
other
county.
direction from this.
Tranquil Acres,
Yep.
Tranquil
Yeah.
Estates.
Yep.
I mean, there's a wastewater thing that there's some-
Mhm. I mean, I know my area. I mean, I've walked it for years.
Jesse, is there any way we can help them? Is there anything?
Not,
No, it's not that. I just want to know, is there anything that my place can, my people can do to either like, protest this? Because it's going to impact that area where y'all said that y'all wouldn't put anything.
You'll go on record as having made your comment. So if you're protesting, that'll go into the record. But other than that, we don't have control over the property.
But it's owned by CPW, right?
And then the town council will make.
the area that, should this go on to town council and be approved and the sale goes through, anything that's done to that property will have to be done in such a way to meet all the stormwater requirements, which means the water can't leave the property. So it should not impact your,
I'm hoping not.
They'll probably-
Because
they'll
already
probably
with the
put
birds coming
retention.
into my neighborhood, that's already impacted.
yeah, if they cover, depending on how much of the land they cover with buildings and parking lots and that sort of thing, they'll have to put in.
So will they go around those trees that are on Trolley Road too? That area goes all the way around?
No, we're just talking about a little area on Ladson Road down next to,
I mean,
To the
it's
fire
pretty
station.
big.
It's almost
It's
about
just-
7 acres. Yeah.
Yeah,
just
it's
like-
pretty big.
Yeah.
I mean, 'cause but it's like something's missing. There's the area that goes back that goes straight back. It goes straight back to Trolley Road.
yeah, but we're not dealing with that
No,
at
no, no,
all.
but I'm just saying that area goes,
Yeah, not the area that we're dealing with. though.
so that you're gonna leave that other area, which is.
We have
actually
nothing to do,
wetlands?
we have nothing to do with that.
Okay, because the one on Trolley, I guess off of, not Trolley Road, where the state facility is at, is more wetlands than anything else.
Oh, that
Oh,
one, yeah,
Mustang.
that area is,
Yeah.
that area has already been dealt with back in there. That's actually belongs to the county as well now.
That's what I thought.
Although
'cause I
it's
mean,
in
it goes
town.
back
County
over
park
the-
now.
It's a county park.
Yeah, most of that's gonna be a park.
So you are gonna turn that part into a park?
Not us, it's county.
So the
County
county is
park.
gonna do the park?
Off of Mount Jameson,
Yeah, because I mean, it actually kind of,
Mhm.
backs up to your area.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so so the park that they were talking about is coming.
Yes.
That's the plan.
That's as far as we know.
We think. As far as we know
keep
today.
hearing rumors, but nothing else.
Well,
Okay,
so do we.
Yeah, county has approved, apparently has the money for it, so I think they're gonna do it.
and no, we voted for a lot of stuff, library, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
We've seen one library. coming.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Is there anyone else that wishes to speak to this? If not, I'll close that public hearing and we'll move on to new business. We have some street names for today.
Are all of these street names
Hold on, let me,
requested
let me get to that. There we go.
to be approved?
We have 3 street names for the Pineland Preserve subdivision: Bernadine, Crosswick, and Stockington.
I move to approve all 3.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of
We've written
approving
down
all
names.
three, signify by saying aye.
You have a,
Aye. Those opposed, like sign.
Aye.
The ayes have it, it's unanimous.
I just, we ran out of names.
Okay, the second item under new business is the
Children next.
request to rezone TMS number 1371114005414 South Main Street, approximately 0.64 acres, owned by 414 SMS LLC from GR2 General Residential to NMX Neighborhood Mixed Use. It's in Council District 2. Do I have a motion?
I move to approve.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Yes. This property is one of a kind. And were it not so isolated there, I certainly would not be in favor of making this change. I vaguely remember it coming before us well back when it was changed from being a daycare center to switching back to being a residential property. And of course, I think they rent out the front of it during the Flower Town Festival for vendors and things. But there's nothing else around it other than church property and town property.
The town park.
And that is most unusual. Because we have a block of residential right south of Town Hall, of course, that I would not be in favor of changing any of that ever. And then there's this one lone house down there in amongst a lot of civic use.
Civic use, and I think the closest commercial is the Hamilton Motel.
Right. But I just wanted to comment that I don't feel like we'd be making any kind of a precedent for future request by doing this simply because it's such an island and such an anomaly.
It's an isolation case.
There's actually 3 residences on the property. And
there's 3 residents on the property. 2 of them are currently long-term rentals. The third, which apparently is this issue, was owned and occupied by a lady who passed away, and I think her family inherited the property.
Right.
And they have chosen to do short-term rentals on the property since 2019. And my question to Jesse is, before any recent changing of the, Jesse, before any recent changes to our codes and ordinances, was the property in conformance with our previous regulations
No.
if it was a short-term rental?
No, sir. A short-term rental is only allowed for owner-occupied properties.
Okay, so it's been non-conforming or out of conformance with our regulations since at least 2019.
Oh, before that, because when it was a daycare, it was non-conforming.
Right, then it became resident.
Right,
And then there were 3 residences there.
correct.
My mother occupied one of
Okay.
them.
And
That's why I know.
But that's why,
And-
that's
but-
why I
but
believe
now-
it came before us.
But my
Years
question,
ago.
the recommendation, the planning commission stated that the owners were relying upon this for their income or something but they've been in non-conformance. They haven't sought any relief since 2019.
No, apparently they were unaware that it was not conforming.
But you did, I mean, I've seen it published, and you did send out notices to
We did. Yes.
short-term rentals like this.
Yes, sir.
Had they received a previous notice before the recent one?
They did. However, I think it may have been addressed to the deceased relative because it took a while for, probate and everything to change. And all we have to go by is the county records in terms of who to send them to.
Mhm.
I can't confirm whether they actually received it, unfortunately.
So my question, if we change this, then all 3 units can be short-term rentals rather than the one that's currently sought to be a short-term rental. Is that correct?
Technically, as long as they meet all the other requirements, yes.
Jesse, are we opening a can of worms? What else could this property become with this change?
I mean, neighborhood mixed use allows for a number of different commercial uses. It's not a huge property, and it's got limited access. So I don't know what else it would be viable for, but
You go see a vape shop.
I mean, you technically could have retail,
Mhm.
but it's,
There's a driveway into it and then you have
Well, it's a
Fourth
shared-
Street that comes
yeah, I was
out.
gonna say, it's a unopened right of way that's used as a driveway.
No, there is a driveway to the property.
Oh,
that the-
yes.
That the
other
3
off of-
residences share. And then they exit out and then you have Fourth Street that comes all the way from the back of the church, all the way up to Main Street there.
Comes from the.
And church traffic
parking lot.
uses that to exit as well as the
Right.
occupiers of this. Yeah. I mean, having 1 short-term rental versus having 3, I don't know if that makes a difference. And
I mean, honestly, the only reason we knew it was being used as a short-term rental is because we have software that now identifies them. We'd received no complaints of any kind about them.
We can get with.
would, has the church expressed any opinion?
No, sir, they have not contacted us.
Oh, okay.
I was gonna
good.
say, I have not heard anything, but
Well, I mean, do you have any objections if it's short-term rental? And or it could be other things in the future.
See, that could be an issue.
That's a $640,000 question.
Because y'all own the property on the corner as well as the church property.
We
correct?
have it surrounded.
Yeah.
And the,
Listen to that rain.
No, just buy it from the Knoxville. Have Ms. Weatherford represent you to buy it from the Knoxville to solve this problem.
I just want to make sure that all the issues are out there and the church is aware of I mean, when it comes to us, there's one specific reason, but it can open it up more broader than the one specific reason that they're discussing today. No objection. Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Jesse, is an option, does Somerville allow a variance for use? No. And it's not grandfathered because it didn't have anything previous.
correct. And the state actually does not allow for use variances. It's against state law.
it was,
Well, as Elaine said, it is surrounded by the church property and across the street by commercial properties. And then you have another church. There's one residence across the street.
2 residents.
Yeah, if you look,
There.
Two
so
Oh, there are 2. Yeah. Well, one is the church property.
you've got
the
the
other church.
Hamilton Motel across the street, and this is a residence, but it is already zoned neighborhood mixed use.
The residences? Okay.
And then you've got the park, obviously, and the
Zone
church that
Neighborhood
surrounds
mixed
it.
use. Okay.
Oh, my poor old dog.
So Jesse, are the 3 properties on there under one deed? Are they 3 separate deeds?
It's deeded.
It's on the same.
One.
It's just one property.
plat.
It's just 3 structures on one property, which the GR2 zoning did allow for up to 3 dwelling units. So that wasn't the non-conforming part. It was the short-term rental that was the non-conforming part.
all right. Anything further? I'll call for the question. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
I,
Those opposed, like sign. The ayes have it.
They want to wait till the rain stops. I just saw a hack going down Richardson.
That's what I was wondering if I left any of my windows down.
Okay, our next order of business is the request to rezone TMS number 154
I think that's a no-brainer.
1305002 on Ladson Road, approximately 9.54 acres, owned by Somerville Commissioners of Public Works, from PL Public
I was gonna
Lands
go
to
to your house.
GB General Business in Council District 6. Do I
Check
have a
the
motion?
rest, 'cause I figured we'd be out early.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion?
I'm going to follow up on the lady's concern. Sorry, I didn't catch her name. Follow up on her concern about the flooding, that even though she does not live in town property, this is adjacent to other residences. And if it's paved over, it can cause flooding outside the town onto adjacent properties. It's public use. I don't see a medical center as public use, public lands. And so I'm concerned about that. And there is a lot of flooding issues in this general area. And I see this as exacerbating that problem if we change it from public lands to any kind of commercial or business property. So I believe I'm going to be opposed to this.
After reading the summary, I was surprised that it once was a pond. I didn't know anything in South Carolina drained itself. So there's no water there now. So it's interesting that at some point it did retain water. It seemed it was a pond and, you know. Yeah, but they said that was also, so yeah.
Exactly.
So, you know, maybe that was originally the runoff for it years and years ago. And when they built the buildings in between, they isolated it. So it's no longer being used.
Oh, we're all kind of in a swamp.
Yeah.
And we're surrounded by swamp.
You're sitting here now at the bed of an ancient sea.
I assume it was a wastewater pond, hence why it was owned by CPW. And it phased out of use would be my guess. But I don't know that for sure.
Yeah.
I just know that we have records that show that there used to be a pond on that site. So
Well,
It looks like a little one.
Yeah, it does to me too. I see the little dot of black.
being the fact that it's public lands, I too would be opposed to changing it. I would leave it as public lands.
I will say CBW has no further use for it, hence why they're trying to sell it.
Well, it does fall in the area that we've been trying to build as part of the medical complex down there. And
You know, if anything about, since it all part of it apparently used to be a pond, what do we know about its current designation in terms of it being a wetland or soil suitability for construction?
Well, it'll have to
That,
go
that's
through
going to be
the
something
plan.
the buyers are going to have to do their due diligence on.
Caveat emptor. My good Latin phrase.
I can say that when I went to put the sign out, it actually has elevation off the road. It goes up.
It does.
Or a bunch of dirt in there.
I imagine,
Or your dad.
Well, if it is raised, then it does increase the runoff from it if it's paved over.
No, he was smart. They're gonna sell it.
Most of the runoff would be to the side.
They will be required to have a 30-foot buffer in between themselves and the adjacent
And it'll be a 30
residential property owners.
be a
That will
vegetative
have
buffer
to
too, right?
remain undisturbed.
Vegetative buffer, right?
Correct. So there'll be a 30-foot buffer that runs all the way along this property line. that
But
will
there's
have to
nothing we can
remain
do about birds.
Undisturbed.
birds are gonna go where birds are gonna go.
Those birds are not complying with the law already.
I mean,
Fuck those birds.
I'm wondering if
If
they're,
they do anything there, they'll also be required to put some basic detention ponds, which may in
Right.
fact
Help.
with some of the runoff.
Yeah.
And also will provide a lot of habitat for a lot of birds.
they're, the stormwater requirements are such that they can't have any water leaving the property once they develop it. So, which
Doesn't
I'm
mean that-
happy to say is starting to work around
Maybe. yeah.
It wasn't because we were, we had little pockets that were just going in and doing things. But I believe it's working. Okay, are there any other? If not, I'll call for the question. All in favor signify by saying aye.
I should have show of raise of hands since we're going.
Show of hands. All right. Everyone in favor, raise your right hand. Those opposed? Motion passes 4-3. Okay, nothing under miscellaneous,
And the rain stopped.
and the rain has stopped. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I moved to adjourn.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. I believe the next meeting date would be August 14th. Does that sound right?
Yeah.